Why are you sitting in the back? Dr. Brahmachari. May I start? Honorable Ministers, Ambassadors, dignitaries, my colleagues from Indian government, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First, I want to welcome you all to Global Innovation Roundtable, focusing on innovations to address challenges of access, equity, and excellence. Then I want to thank you all for taking time from your busy schedule to be with us. I know many of you have traveled from long distances. We want to make sure that the next 2 days are interesting and enjoyable for all of us together. We have a very detailed program, jam-packed, so I can assure you, you'll be busy. And I want to take a few minutes to give you an overview and take you through what we hope to go through in the next 2 days. As you know, Government of India has declared 2010-2020 as the decade of innovations. And as a result, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh set up a National Innovation Council consisting of about 17 distinguished people. You will meet some of those here. My colleagues are here and would have opportunity to interact with you. And the main focus of this council is to really put together a national agenda on innovations for the decade. As a result, we have requested all chief ministers to set up state-level councils, city councils by mayors, sectorial councils on various industry segments like biotech, nanotech, diabetes, auto parts, materials, wireless, semiconductors. Some total 30 sectorial councils have been set up. Some reports are already in, and our goal is to set up about 100 sectorial councils. Then we have a program to set up $1 billion innovation fund that we'll be discussing sometime today. We are also focused on seeding innovations at clusters. We have large number of clusters in the country for pharmaceuticals, diamond, leather industry, textile, and many other areas. We are also working on innovations at the universities, designing programs for scholarships, awards, incentives. So our overall goal is to really begin to change mindset. We do recognize that innovation is going to be the key in the 21st century, not only for globally competitive industries and markets, but also to improve productivity, efficiency, and creating jobs and growth. However, we do recognize that innovating strategies for a country is a little different from designing strategies for innovations at a company. I tell many of my colleagues that we are busy building a nation and not building a company. And there is a huge difference in our approach. Based on all of this, we had our first Global Innovation Roundtable last year, where 15 countries came together to share experiences, learn from each other, and collaborate. We believe web and internet is changing everything around us. And we believe it is also offering us opportunity to create new business models, new delivery systems, new structures in the governance, education, health. And we have a lot to learn and experiment. And we want to share with you some of our experiences and learn from your experiences. I am one of those who has been saying for last 20 years that the best brains in the world are busy solving problems of the rich, who really don't have problems to solve. And as a result, problems of the poor don't get the right kind of talent. We have the largest number of poor in the world. We have 220 million hungry in the world. We have 250 million illiterate. And our challenges are very different. So we need to tackle these challenges through innovation in the 21st century differently. I don't think there is anywhere a model to address our massive challenges. So we need to create Indian model of development, Indian model of innovations. Pardon me for saying this, that the Western model based on consumption is just not scalable, workable, desirable for 1.3 billion people today. At some point in time, it might work. So we have no options but to innovate. But it's a tough task. It's not going to happen overnight. And that's why we are reaching out to people like you to help us join in this journey. We do recognize that it is not a short-term challenge. It'll take a decade or two to make a dent. So in the second Global Innovation Roundtable, we have 11 sessions and 51 speakers. Sessions include topics like crowdsourcing for innovations, financial requirements for innovations, learning from global good practices, creating innovation ecosystems, focusing on bottom of the economic pyramid, innovations at clusters, future partnerships, and many others. We are delighted that there is high-level participation from many governments. We have some ministers here, domain experts, international multilateral agencies, and fair amount of participation and interaction with top government officers from Government of India. You will join in, or we have colleagues coming in and out, because some of these are busy people with day-to-day priorities in Delhi. So you may not be able to see everyone all the time here, but I can assure you, you'll have time to interact with Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission, some of our ministers, other professional colleagues, members of the Innovation Council, members from the Planning Commission, and others. We are broadcasting this live on web, so people all over the world would be able to at least see what we are trying to do. We also have tomorrow a press conference on Twitter, global press conference on Twitter on Global Innovation Roundtable. It's going to be tomorrow between 7 and 8:30 in the evening after we are done. We had our first global Indian conference on Twitter last month, and we had some very interesting response. So we thought, let's do it at a global level. I request our guests and colleagues from other parts of the world to join us in this Twitter conference. We've already drafted here a member from Stockholm to take charge of tweeting for the European community. I have another colleague here from Mexico, and I've told him, you tweet for us in Spanish. So see if we can get some interesting thing going here tomorrow, and I'm sure we will learn from it. We also have tomorrow a privilege to be with the President of India. Tomorrow morning, we will be delivering our report, second report from the National Innovation Council to the President of India. We have a little 40-minute function. So we'll all have privilege to go meet him, interact there. So I look forward to your participation there as well. Logistically, both days meetings are going to be here. Dinner this evening is at another hotel, not too far from here. And tomorrow, late morning, President's house, which is also not too far from here. So we have 3 locations to deal with. And if you need any help on logistics, we have lots of colleagues here who would be able to help you. I'm all excited about opportunities in India. I believe India will continue to grow at 8 to 10%, leaving aside little glitch here, little glitch there. Mainly because, from my perspective, we have 3 fundamental challenges going forward. One, disparity, and I talk a great deal about it, disparity between rich and poor, urban, rural, educated, uneducated. And we need to narrow this disparity as much as possible. 2, demography. We have 550 million young below age of 25. And everything we do today has to keep that constituency in mind. It is their education, their prosperity, their jobs, training, employment that we have to keep in focus. And 3, development. I believe everything is happening in India, but perhaps not at the pace we would want. We need more colleges, more universities, more roads, more energy, more schools, more doctors, more hospitals. Everything is required in large quantities. And we also at the same time have to focus on not just expansion, but equity and excellence. We have to make sure that the quality of education is improved, quality of health services need to be improved, and all of that. And we have to make sure that the poorest of the poor can indeed get access to all of these services. And these are huge challenges. But we believe technology is going to come to rescue. We believe we are living in very exciting times because of internet, biotech, nanotech, materials, alternate energy. We have an opportunity to find new solutions which can bring about generational change as opposed to incremental change. And we think next 10, 20 years are going to be very critical for the world. When I look at 20th century, I find that we still have the mindset of the past. And in 21st century, because of internet, that mindset will have to change to move from command and control to collaboration, cooperation, communication. And it's not easy. Everyone is still focused on boundaries. and the technologies we deal with don't have any boundaries. So what works in India would also work in some way in other parts of the world. So as we are beginning to redesign a country or redesign a nation, and we have no option but to redesign a nation, I'm sure there are experiences that others can use from our redesign. There are lots of examples in India today that my colleagues in US and others look to. For example, we have one of our colleagues who provides quadruple bypass at $2,000 as opposed to $70,000 in US. So how do you take that model and scale it to bring cost down? We have someone else in India who provides eye surgery for less than $2. How do you take that model everywhere else in the world? And there are tons of solutions like this that we are experimenting with it now, that we need to scale. At the end of these 2 days, I would also like all of us to at least focus on defining 4 or 5 areas that we can collectively work together to scale. Otherwise, we'll again meet and have a good conference. I have 4 things in mind that I want to share with you now, so when we discuss further, we can elaborate on it. One, when President Obama was here last year, we had an opportunity to spend some time together, and as a result of his visit, US and Indian government decided to launch a joint program where 15 people from White House and 15 of our colleagues under the leadership of Dr. Garola and Samir Mitra here worked together for 9 months to develop open government platform to really open government data and documents. This was an extension of the data.gov that government of US had designed. This platform is already working, trialed it out, and we are launching it in Rwanda and Ghana. We have now official interest from Canada, Russia, and few other countries. And we would like to offer that free of cost to rest of the world to radicalize their democracies. It's a program that we have developed jointly, and I think many people can share that and benefit if they wish, is available to them. Similarly, we are thinking of developing a platform for crowdsourcing of innovations. Hopefully in 9 months, we will have a new platform which we will then offer to everybody free of charge for crowdsourcing of innovations in your part of the world, your part of the city, country, whatever you want. Similarly, we would like one example like that in education and one in health. If we can come up with these 4 and not all IT related, we tend to shift in IT area because of personal background and our success stories in IT. But you have to guard us and tell us that IT is not the only thing. So if we can come up with 4 or 5 things that we can work together jointly. I know that our CSIR laboratories have designed open drug discovery platform that we could discuss. I believe we discussed last time. That could be another area to work together on. But if we can come to some consensus on this, I think a meeting like this would be more productive. So with this, once again, I want to welcome you all, remind you of the Twitter conference, #innovations. Keep in mind that you'll have opportunity to address global press conference tomorrow evening. So get your tweets ready. And I hope we have a very good discussion for the next 2 days. Thank you for joining us. And now we're going to start our first session. And our first speaker, I believe you have their biodatas in here, so I'm not going to spend time reading and taking time away from the speaker. So you can scan through their biodata quickly. It is my privilege to introduce our first speaker, Ms. Anja Loof, Minister for Enterprise and Regional Affairs from Sweden. Welcome. You want to come here? Oh, you can go there, you can come here, whatever is convenient. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, first of all, thank you for inviting Sweden to this Global Innovation Roundtable. It's both very good to be here in India and to have this opportunity to share ideas and experiences in innovation policy and how to improve our capacity for innovation still further. Innovation is, of course, essential. It's not only essential for the economic prosperity of our countries, but also to build more sustainable and inclusive societies. And change is being driven by globalization, facilitated by improved telecommunications. We are seeing a wave of change and innovation at every level of our economies and societies, and the digital sector is becoming key, not only for Sweden and India, but across the globe. It too will change how we interact and trade in an ever more fiercely competitive world. Yet innovation is even more vital than ever before. Around the world we all face demographic, economic and environmental challenges on a massive and global scale. We need innovation to create decent living conditions, affordable health care and societies that can benefit all our citizens. And we urgently need new approaches, new processes and new products to create sustainable development. Sweden has faced great challenges before. Little more than a century ago, Sweden was a poor and largely agricultural country. Mass starvation was still within living memory, and over a quarter of the population had emigrated to find better opportunities elsewhere. Yet within 3 generations, we had transformed our country and ourselves through hard work, but above all through learning the lessons of innovation and cooperation. Those qualities remain dear. We remain a small nation. We rely on and believe in cooperation and economic interaction between ourselves and with the outside world. We know it's only through sharing ideas, experience and cooperation that we can continue to grow and remain competitive. This is why we are seeking to strengthen relations that last with a country such as India. They will be crucial for addressing the global challenges we face. And relations between India and Sweden are good. Although direct bilateral trade between our countries has room to grow, we see many Swedish companies are very active with both production and research and development in India, and that major Indian companies have an increasing presence in Sweden. I'm glad to say Swedish companies are major investors and employers in India. So far, more than 160 Swedish companies have established themselves in India, and together they employ more than 700,000 people in this country, direct or indirectly. Implementing structural reforms in India would mean this number will undoubtedly grow. So, a snapshot of the modern Sweden those companies come from. Sweden consistently ranks as one of the most competitive, globalized and innovative countries in the world. We work hard to maintain high international rankings in competitiveness, innovation, business climate and growth potential. The long list of world-renowned companies is a testament to this hard work, our industrial tradition, know-how and innovativeness runs from Ericsson and Volvo through IKEA and H&M to Spotify, Oriflame and Sky. An ability to cooperate and to combine and cross disciplines provides many new opportunities. Technologies, competence, and innovation from different business areas and academic institutions join forces and work towards new products and applications. We continue to strive to work together to provide a dynamic environment in which government, industry and academia collaborate closely. Government policies actively back a supportive and open business climate. The Swedish government is also making efforts to improve conditions for business to diversify into other markets. International investments is facilitated by transparency and further improving straightforward business procedures and efficiency. The government also aims to boost innovation to research and development, especially within the field of environmental technologies, life science, ICT, and other industries with high potential to growth. Sweden are generally keen to adopt new technologies, so investment in research is seen as both natural and important. We are proud of the fact that Sweden is one of those countries that invest most public resources per capita in research. In 2012, publicly financed research totaled more than 1% of GDP, and with the Swedish business sector investing another 2 to 3% of GDP, relatively speaking, total national research spending is amongst the highest in the world. So, Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen, to return to the outside world and to trade, the link between successful innovation and trade is proven. We believe the theory of comparative advantage still holds true. That when a country specializes in producing goods and services in areas where they have a comparative advantage and trades with other countries, global welfare increases. However, comparative advantage is not fixed or static. Innovation is one avenue of changing comparative advantage. In the 20th century, Swedish exports, the main basic of our economic transformation, deepened largely on innovation. Today, imports and foreign direct investment channel technological change to us all. That technology itself can also be traded. Licenses are one example, and we believe free trade and protection of intellectual property can only underpin and strengthen these processes still further. So when it comes to enterprise, I believe we need a truly broad approach to ensure all areas of our industries reach their full potential and so contribute to future development. As you know, a significant characteristic of our flourishing economy is a booming small and medium-sized enterprise sector. Small and medium-sized enterprises play an important role in the development of any country, and sound framework conditions and robust national structures targeting and supporting SMEs are needed. In Sweden too, we need both expanding businesses and more businesses to create jobs. This can be best encouraged by market-based instruments such as tax incentives and voluntary commitments. We wish to encourage the rapidly expanding service content in manufacturing and a growing service sector, which are increasingly contributing to economic growth and job creation. Sweden has worked hard to provide most of the attributes that attract the interests of foreign investors. There is the full spectrum of cluster participants, small, innovative companies, multinationals with experience and financial clout, world-class research institutions, an advanced capital market including good access to venture capital, along with a pretty efficient public sector largely devoid of red tape. Although personally, ladies and gentlemen, I believe you can't never have too little red tape. Subsequently, we have been able to benefit from the huge impact of IT telecom and to rise high-tech industry, and we can now say that we are regarded as one of the most attractive, really leading knowledge-based economy worldwide. And external influence have been key in achieving this. Having long operated in an open economy, Swedish industry continues to develop a tradition of organizing production and distribution in response to international competition. The business culture is experiment-oriented. The delegation of responsibility and flat organizational structures fosters initiative and problem solving amongst employees. The widespread willingness to try new technologies includes working with new ideas and solutions. Relations between Swedish employers and unions are traditionally good, with few working days lost to labor disputes or resisting change. However, I'm here not only to share the lessons we have learned in emerging from poverty on the margins of Europe to where we are today, but to ensure the work still to be done. I and my government do not believe in being satisfied. We know there is much to be done still further, and we must develop existing markets and win new market shares. These markets are constantly changing. In a changing world, governments and companies must be alert and maintain momentum. And to keep that momentum, the Swedish government has just launched a new national innovation strategy 3 weeks ago. And this strategy aims to create, sustain, and continuously develop a world-class innovative climate towards 2020 and beyond. And there are 3 prime motives at the heart of this. Firstly, as I mentioned earlier, we believe strong innovative capabilities are vital for the country to address the global challenges we share with other countries, such as climate change and energy supply, and demography and health. These great challenges, ladies and gentlemen, mean great opportunities. Success in developing new solutions means new markets, new jobs, and growth. And these solutions need cooperation. Cooperation with other like-minded countries such as India. Secondly, we need a stronger innovation to continue to be competitive and the jobs that ensures. Countries throughout the world are developing their innovation capabilities fast. We want to join forces with them. We can see an increasing global competition in knowledge in intensive sectors where Sweden traditionally hold strong positions. With global value chains evolving in new ways, we need to work closely with rapidly growing economies. Which brings me literally to India, and such initiatives as the Indo-Swedish Innovation Platform that will be launched this afternoon to help find commercially based innovations which are of mutual interest for both our countries. Finally, we know we need stronger innovations to continue delivering our hard-won public services with quality and efficiency our citizens expect. We have longer lives and an aging population in Sweden. Fewer people will need to provide for many more. We need those better, more effective and more efficient ways to deliver public services. So not only is the scope of the new national strategy broad, but so too its concept of innovation itself. And this broad concept of innovation means the strategy aims to take into account all forms of innovation. And although I'm leading the work from the Ministry of Enterprise, all government in ministries have been involved in this work, and all ministries will be necessary for implementing the strategy. We will also work closely together with regional administrations and other stakeholders throughout the whole country. The ambition is to create a common vision and common goals for a stronger Sweden in 2020 and beyond, where innovation means successful businesses, more jobs, attractive regions, and better quality of life for our people. And to share our common and different experience and the lessons to learn, I'm here in India for 5 days to meet my colleagues and to meet both Indian and Swedish companies here in India, to share ideas, to share experiences, and to learn from each other, both today and for our futures ahead. And the new Swedish national strategy will be here in this room if you would like to read it, or if you'd like to get the document, yes, and we will have it in the bottom here of the room. So thank you very much for the possibility to be here and to share our experiences. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Ms. Maria Luisa Coppola. She's the Minister for Economic Development, Research and Innovations for the Veneto region. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. First of all, I wish to thank you, our ambassador, Mr. Giacomo Sanfelice di Monteforte, and the National Innovation Council with Mr. Sam Pitroda. Thank you very much for the invitation. As Veneto region, we are really glad, and I'm proud to participate to this event. It's just through innovation, both technological and of a business model, that it's possible to give to the economy of our territory a future and positively foster the existing excellences. This is my opinion, but also one of those priorities shared between the various stakeholders, institutions, economic and academic community that are part of our regional system. In this particular historical moment, innovation does represent a fundamental strategy. It allows mature economies like ours to hook on the next economic recovery, and once for all to leave behind the thaw moment of economic and short-term crisis that is affecting negatively the investments and the competitiveness of our continent. We all acknowledge this, my region, Italy, and the European Union. Therefore, the aim of Veneto region is to take the necessary measures to strengthen the competitive ability of those small and medium enterprises that are able to give life to natural and progressive innovation, and that represents the real dynamic and caring heart of the local economic system. Our region is small if compared to the standards of the country that are here today, but nevertheless, our territory is equally competitive. We are one of the more economically structured European regions and in the highest position in the ranking of the number of companies. Agro-food, textile, fashion, mechanical, leather, electric equipment, marble, metal and manufactured products, chemical, footwear production, furniture, hotel business and tourism. These are some of the best of our leading fields of production, with a particular attention to development of knowledge in the field of nano and biotechnologies. The key features of economic system defined as the Veneto model are flexible production, foreign markets trade, internationalization of markets, the number of SMEs, the coexistence of traditional manufacturing products with technological advanced activities. The production model of my region, of Veneto region, is represented by a majority of SMEs, often family-run. We have also 460,000 companies, but we are just 5 million of inhabitants. We are talking about companies that work through a network logic. It means that every enterprise is specialized in a specific, well-defined stage of the production process and is at the same time a provider and customer for other companies. Our firms are therefore partner and competitor and create high-quality products known and exported all over the world. Just to make a few examples, from Veneto region comes 50% of the world's production of eyeglasses, 65% of the world production of ski boots and ski equipment, 70% of Italy's production of sports shoes, 80% of Italy's production of gold jewelry, as well as the 24% of the world production of made in Italy clothing. The original and ancient agricultural vocation of my region has succeeded in renewing and modernize its methods, directing its efforts towards a top quality production, forming close links with the industry in order to give rise to an efficient agro-industrial system that actively contributes to the export of our goods. Lastly, Veneto, famous for its hospitality, has an advanced tourist industry. We are the first region in Italy for tourism. Last year has been a record year, with more than about 64 million of overnight stays and an increase of the 4.2% from the previous year. We are talking about almost 16 million of tourists in just 1 year. It's a land that links the seaside through universally recognized symbolic cities such as Venice and Verona, to the wonderful Dolomites recently included in the World Heritage List of UNESCO. We choose to develop our competitiveness also by facilitating the dialogue as a sort of triangle: the region, the world of business, and the academia. In this context, the Veneto region, in its institutional role, has the duty of fostering the necessary synergy between these two communities and between all the stakeholders of the regional innovation system. That includes 4 universities. We have 2 in Venice, 1 in Verona, and 1 in Padua. Padua is the oldest university in Italy and one of the oldest in Europe. Several university research consortia, 3 public research centers, 3 scientific parks, 5 business incubators, 26 innovation centers, and hundreds research laboratories, as well as the cluster of nanotechnologies, officially recognized by the Italian Ministry of Education, University and Research and the European Union. The incidence of the expenditure for research on GDP in Veneto region place us at the 3rd in the Italian region ranking list. Taking into consideration the amount of investments, about 1,600 million euro, and the number of stakeholders involved in the regional innovation system, cooperation, inclusive participation, and a bottom-up approach are an ace in the whole. The new recent policies are oriented toward the creation of a partnership between research structures and enterprises, able to generate an exchange of knowledge and experience to incisively support technological evolution and encouraging the creation of new startup companies and corporate spin-off. The emergence of the concept of knowledge-based economy shows that the extraordinary human capital represented by the young researchers and graduates is the key for the international competitiveness. It's being It's been a long time since the Veneto region acknowledged their value, and therefore is promoting many initiatives that aim to introduce those human resources to work in the regional and Italian companies. We already know that the creation of networks of excellence is a winning strategy, and at local level. For instance, in fields such as nanomedicine, nanoscience, and space technologies. Transparency, bureaucratic simplification, public-private investments, and new kind of dialogue and cooperation with the local actors are just a few examples of the challenges taken on by Veneto region. These are the reasons why we are moving towards a complete digitalization of the application for the regional funding, for example. We think that this strategy has to be promoted not only in small countries like Veneto, of course, but also at a global level in order to share experience and knowledge needed to cooperate towards a definite aim. Take on the challenge of innovation and share current and coming financial opportunities that will be offered by the different level of government. Please let me conclude with a last consideration on a fundamental issue, helpful to reach the goal of a sustainable innovation development, the youth generation. The future of my land, but I think the future of European Union is represented by youngsters. Inclusiveness and participation to the labor market with a particular regard for women and foreigners are the real social challenge for a more democratic, transparent and efficient European Union. We trust and we are working for this result to reach a real Europe 2020. I thank you again for the invitation and for your kind attention, and have a nice and interesting day. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Blair Hall from United States. He is Minister, Consular, Economic, Environmental, Science and Technology Affairs at the U.S. Embassy. Before I invite him, I must say that we are all saddened by the natural calamity caused by Sandy. We have been watching CNN and other news all along. It's amazing what nature can do to so many people at the same time. It's shocking to see that millions and millions in a country like US are without power, no transportation. People are stuck in elevators. I have friends who are stuck on the second floor because the first floor is underwater. So our sympathies are with them, their families, their friends. So many lives have been lost. With this, I would invite Blair Hall.
Thank you, Sam, and thank you for those kind words. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, friends, it's an honor for me to be here to speak to you today about engendering and sustaining innovation in both the public and commercial arenas. This is something in which my government is very, very interested and has worked very, very closely with the government of India, Sam Petroda and others around this table on a number of issues, and so we have a lot of things to say on this. So many, in fact, that the remarks prepared for me would be about 30 minutes to deliver. In the interest of time, what I'd like to do, Sam, is to submit those for the record and instead offer extemporaneously a few observations that may be relevant to our deliberations over the next couple of days. With Silicon Valley, the Route 127 corridor, Research Triangle being among the premier innovation entrepreneurship ecosystems in the world, we often are asked, what is the secret sauce? How do you create an ecosystem that allows innovation to flourish, that allows commercialization of technologies that have impact to come about. It's clear to us that innovation and entrepreneurship are engines for global economic growth and the increased productivity of workers in an environment. The challenge for governments is to provide a supportive policy environment where innovation and entrepreneurship can flourish. Innovation fundamentally depends on individual creativity and motivation to take risk in turning new ideas into commercial assets. In the United States, the private sector drives innovation, and the marketplace provides the crucible for innovation. Once an idea is successfully tested in the market, other innovations can build on those ideas and work to spread the best ideas through markets, both domestic and international. But I want to point out that this doesn't mean that government is without a role. Government has to be intimately involved in setting up the ecosystem that can create and propagate these innovations. The governments have a role in funding research. As a matter of fact, the U.S. government and state governments fund enormous amounts of research, but this research is often focused on public goods, that is in health or environment or in specific areas where there is a lack of funding from other sources. In most cases, though, this is public-private research. That is, for example, the National Institute of Health will work with private companies on collaboration for specific projects, specific outcomes. When President Obama in 2009 announced the American Strategy for Innovation, he said that the United States led the world's economies in the 20th century because we led in innovation. Today the competition is keener, the challenge is tougher, and that's why it's more important than ever that innovation become the key to new jobs for the 21st century. It's obvious to us that innovation is a key driver of the American economy. And it's also, as you mentioned in your opening remarks, the Prime Minister of India has recognized that here, has made this the decade of innovation and set in motion the very powerful idea of the National Innovation Council, for which we're happy to be your partner as you go forward. So governments can create a vital role in creating the ecosystem for innovation and entrepreneurship. There's funding. There's also the establishment of simple, transparent rules and processes for conducting business. These allow entrepreneurs and innovators to bring products to market and to establish businesses in the formal sector. These rules also minimize the cost of failing, thereby increasing the risk, the chance that entrepreneurs will take another risk on the next commercial venture. And I think as we look at what is the contributor to success of the American innovation system, it's the ability to take a risk, to fail and to come back. The idea that you can learn from mistakes and not be penalized. And I think that that's one of the systems that is key to moving ahead, particularly when we're talking about businesses at the low end of the pyramid with very small margins, with lots of challenges. They have to give people the opportunity to succeed and not punish the failure at that attempt. While there are dozens of innovative actions that governments can take, most of these fall into the two broadly defined categories, funding and regulatory framework. Mainly these are in the domestic area. Each country will have to decide the best policies for their governments. But I think it is important to look at collaboration across borders, because no country has the market on innovation. No country has has cornered the market on good brains. And to put these brains to work, to find the ways to collaborate, to move capital, to move research across borders is critical to addressing some of these key challenges of this century. On the funding side, while governments can and should be the source of critical funding needs, eventually most of the funding is going to have to come from private sources. Governments necessarily are facing resource constraints, especially now. So the free market system offers this the best opportunity to look at the risk-reward paradigm, and this allows for the efficient deployment of scarce resources. Successful private enterprises are able to set aside R&D funds for both internal projects and investment in other smaller startups, as well as to collaborate on other R&D projects. Moreover, angel funds, professional venture capital funds, private equity funds, mezzanine funds, even not-for-profit social funds, all provide diverse sources of funding for innovative enterprises. And it's important to set an environment, the government set an environment where these kind of funds, these pools of money, can flourish and be put to productive use. So market access to capital is essential, and a simplified process for private, small, and medium-sized enterprises should be able to float and offer equity in initial public offerings on stock exchanges and access market funds. The other aspect of funding is to provide fiscal incentives that promote innovation. There is no one-size-fits-all set of incentives. Broadly, the incentives include R&D tax credits, tax deductions, R&D cost-sharing arrangements, labor cost-sharing arrangements, funding for marketing efforts. Some of these incentives can be made broadly available, or others could be targeted to specific areas. Very well-known examples are those of Southeast Asian countries that have focused incentives to attract semiconductor industry from the U.S., and over the last decades have become very successful. And with the National Innovation Council looking at a lot of these kind of incentives and targeted ideas here in India as well. On the regulatory side, which in certain respects could be seen to be more important than the funding side, governments can either motivate risk-taking and innovation or unintentionally discourage it. For successful innovation, business operating globally rely on a stable and transparent legal framework, and this allows them to make decisions based on market conditions. So a strong regulatory framework would include simpler corporate security laws, insolvency and bankruptcy laws, labor laws, licensing and contract laws, and having due process, sanctity of contract in going forward. As the world becomes flatter, it's no longer optional to have just one country innovation. We need to move across borders. And so to achieve economies of scale and to tap into these pockets of expertise, we have to find a way across borders. I'm proud of the fact that our Indo-US Science and Technology Forum has created a number of initiatives over the past few years that have involved over 10,000 scientists, technologists, medics, students to be brought together in exchange programs, workshops, internships, and other forms of collaboration. I'm the chairman of the U.S. co-chair of the U.S.-India Science and Technology Endowment, which is a $30 million fund dedicated to the commercialization of innovative technology. Today, as a matter of fact, we're announcing our third call for proposals from U.S. and Indian innovators to come up with projects that are socially impactful, either in empowering citizens or providing more healthy citizens. We just have completed the first and second rounds of our funding. The first round of funding, which was done last year, was to a partnership between an MIT-based set of technologists and a Mumbai-based ice company that is creating a thermal battery for cold storage of fruits and vegetables. This doesn't rely on a diesel generator. It doesn't rely on the grid. It's sturdy. It's stable. It's important here. It will be scaled up here. And the ability of the two governments to provide this seed money has allowed this company to then attract Series A financing. to scale up and to take a idea that will be important in India. We can export it to Africa. We can even use it in developed countries to store vegetables, fruits, seafood, other things to help production and to move things to the bottom of the pyramid, help empower farmers. This kind of government cooperation with a little bit of money is critical to helping to prime the pump for the kind of innovations that we need in the 21st century. I was going to say a word about the open government platform. You've said it. We'll have a chance to talk about it later, Sam, but just thank you for your leadership, Samir, Dr. Gagiola. I think this is a very exciting opportunity to empower citizens around the world, to give them the data they need to make their governments responsive and to foster a lot of these other things. And look forward to the opportunity to talk about that at another time. Finally, just mention that we have the Millennium Alliance, which the U.S. Agency for International Development is funding, along with FICCI, the Indian Federation Chambers of Commerce and Industry, that are doing exactly this same kind of seed money to look for socially impactful technologies that work in India, but not only in India. India is an innovation lab that we can take and move out to the rest of the world. It's